So, moving on to next question. Sumner, what is your position on public safety?
I consider public safety to be an essential public function, an essential government function, and that needs to be fully funded. Public safety, in my opinion, has to do with police, with fire, with EMS, but it also has to do with security of our borders, our immigration position, and in addressing that issue, again, feel that we need to close the loopholes and enforce our laws as regards our black market economy. We've got a huge number of undocumented immigrants who are in this state feeding an economy that creates a demand for them. And I can tell you too that there is flow of drugs and other illegal activities that goes on around this black market economy. We've got to put a stop to it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to end it.
Public safety, as I mentioned to you earlier, is right at the top of my list as well. As an elected, we have the responsibility for the health and the welfare of our citizens. Whether that be in an emergency situation, I believe that we have to provide the funding to take care of our folks, that in the event that we had an emergency, say we had a huge earthquake tomorrow, we need to be able to have funds for the health and safety of our people. Our law enforcement, they have a huge job to do. And I'm proud to say that I am endorsed by the Washington Cops Association, and that part of, we're going to have a huge issue with the drugs. We already are. We have situations right now, home invasions, home robberies. You hear it on the news every single night. That's not going to change because we have drug addicts that are out there breaking into your home to rob and take from you whatever they can to turn it into money for drugs. Law enforcement is a must. Corrections, can't let people out of jail early. Those have to be priorities.
Thank you. And now moving on to, unfortunately, the last question of which I have three. And I'll choose this one. Republicans claim that we can save money by privatizing government services. The corporate model is to maximize profits by raising prices, cutting quality, and shortchanging customers and workers. Wouldn't we end up paying more and getting less?
That's a loaded question. I don't know that Republicans believe that, but first of all, our auditor, Brian Sontag, came down with performance audits. Brian said in several of his reports, we should be looking at privatizing not only our liquor stores, but our print shop. Those two items came forward, and Senator Shelton carried the liquor store privatization forward this last session, and it didn't happen. The print shop could save a lot of money for all of us if that were privatized. If you take, it may juggle some of the jobs around, but what the people that work in those industries could either own the business, they could run the business, they could be employees of that business in the same fashion. You then have revenue still going back, generated from the businesses, but I'll tell you what, part of the job of our state auditor is to suggest to us through these performance audits of where we can cut money and where money is best used, and nobody's paying attention to it.
Thank you.
As an authority in public health, I can tell you that Washington State enjoys a position of having one of the lowest incidences of alcoholism, alcohol-related deaths and crime, and one of the lowest underage drinking. And so I would propose to you that our Liquor Control Board and holding the control of liquor purchasing in this state has been a good thing for public safety and for the public health of Washington State. Whenever you talk about privatizing a human service, and you talk about putting that into a business model, there is going to be a compromise to that human service for sure. health care in the United States of America as it was before the Affordable Health Care Act is a great example of how that happens.
Thank you. Well, unfortunately, time flies, and we've actually had quite a round of discussions and questions covering quite a gambit of issues. So with that, now we're to the point where our candidates will give them 2 minutes to give a summary. They can either readdress the question or, again, give us further background of why we would want to vote for them as a candidate. And we had Jan start off with the initial introductions. Now we'd like to have Sumner and with conclusions, please.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to present myself and my views to this group. You are the people that make democracy happen, and I honor you for that. I think there are distinctions between my opponent and me. I want you to know that I will lead in a way that allows me to step forward with critical decision making. I will lead by inspiring. I will lead by making decisions that are always in the best interest of the 26th Legislative District, and I will never put anything in front of the good and its best interest of the 26th Legislative District. I will work to keep the tolls and the fares of our ferries and our bridges as flat and as low as possible. We have working families who rely on going over the bridge or taking the ferry every single day, and I can tell you that is becoming a larger and larger burden to the working families of our community. In my discussion with teachers, I know that we can do better with our education. I think now is the time for education reform. We need to step up to it, and we need to work to create career paths for our kids that are meaningful and that stops the flow of dropouts, 35%, who move out onto the streets and create a huge, huge social burden for us all. And I want you to know that I've spent my life as a public servant, and I intend to continue to do so in the legislature. I look forward to serving you. My name is Sumner Schoenike, and I'm running for the House of Representatives position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, thank you to our chamber and to all of you for showing up so early this morning. We've talked about a lot of serious issues today. I am the candidate that has the broad-based experience to cover this broad base of issues. I've owned my own business. I've been in banking, finance. I've served you now through local government and state government for 10 years. As your Kitsap County Commissioner, I worked on the local issues that counties fight every day with citizen issues. I worked on it at a state level with the Washington Association of Counties, sitting on their board. And now as your state representative. These issues, we are at a critical, critical time. I want to go back to Olympia, and I ask for your vote to do that. I will work for the accountability, the efficiency, and the transparency that you should expect from your government. I have the experience to do that. I have a lifetime of leadership. I welcome you to stop and look at janangel.com. It gives you all the things I've done over my entire life in the realms of leadership, in the realms of private business, and in the realm of public service. I thank you. It's been my honor to represent you over these last 10 years, and I want to go back and continue to do that. I want to fight for you so that we can get this state out of a crisis situation and honestly make it the best we can for all of our family, our children, our grandchildren. Jan Angel, 26th District, position number 1. Thank you very much.